Thomas Berryman TV, MC Wicks. You are now rocking with the greatest. Worldwide, universal, we kick games, drop gems. Knowledge expand the brain. We don't speak no lie, this all factual. Travel through sound waves, international. My aura is shining, but that's natural. From the cosmos, supernatural, extraterrestrial with the ill flow. Too high, too elevated. Art and culture is beautiful, we gon' celebrate it. Documented this history in the making. Connecting with the rest of the planet through conversation. Building from the ground up, this the foundation. Through the power of thought manifestation. Gift the gab, champion rap, greatness. Timeless like hieroglyphs. Who would've ever pictured this? Blow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Ignacio Esteban for the 7th time, the 7th season. Welcome back, man.
Thomas, thanks for having me, man. I enjoy doing your shows. Hard to believe. Lucky 7. Lucky number 7. You're doing good. You got a lot of good guests on. I really enjoy watching you on there, and you have awesome shorts that you do also.
Yeah, definitely. I have to make some more for you as well.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. I know I had sent you some. You did some real good ones. You haven't seen it, folks? Go check out his channel. And the ones that we did of me doing recordings from like a portion of one of my books or what have you. Yeah. And you do it there with AI. Was that with AI? You did it?
No, I just made some clips on the editing program I use. But yeah, that's a good idea as well.
I know that some other people tell me that they use AI, and they're just unreal what you can do now with AI.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's and they're pretty good, and it is scary. It's hard to tell what's real. The deep fakes, man, it is tough to tell when Trump is talking, not talking.
Yeah,
Joe Biden, these deep fakes. I mean, have you seen the one with Tom Cruise?
Nah.
Oh man, you should see that. Go folks, go check it out. Deep fakes on Tom Cruise, and it is hard to tell the difference. You can do it on anybody. It's scary. You don't know what's real anymore. That's why he's like, I can't believe what I see anymore. That's the 21st century AI, folks. So if you haven't seen it, go have some fun with that. Go online and go check out deep fakes and put everybody's name in there, and you can really see. Say, man, we're going down a scary path, no doubt about it.
Oh, definitely. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So a lot going on in the world. You tell me which way you want to go with this. We can go talk about little current events. We can talk about some things that happened personally to me. We can talk about some of my trips. I know you like The Sopranos too. I did a Christmas trip to Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I can tell you, I wrote a pretty interesting article on Medium. So if you like what I'm talking about and stuff there, I also have the books on Amazon. But Medium, I've written over 100 articles. So if you like to write, I know you do, Thomas, that's a great way to get published. You get published and has over 100 million subscribers, users, right? Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And get your work out there. It's a good way to start, and you get really working. So I've been, by the time I wrote this article on why I thought Atlantic City is a bust, Atlantic City has a rich history, right? Especially with organized crime. And it had the first Italian-American mob summit back in the late 20s, right? You had all the big names go out there. And that's when they start organizing themselves, and the commission, all that stuff start coming to fruition, eventually through Havana. But that's where they want organization, the different crime families coming together, right? Yeah. You had Lucky Luciano, you had Meyer Lansky, you had, Costello, you had all the big names coming out there. So that's the history of Atlantic City. Unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption there. I know you like The Sopranos, right?
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, Atlantic City is a big part of New Jersey's profile. That's for sure. And it's a place where I knew there were some issues, and I didn't know that there was going to be this kind of issues. And I was trying to be fair to the city. I really was. We spent 7 days. We spent an entire week at timeshare out there, right on the boardwalk. Very nice, next to the casino. The boardwalk is nice. You walk there, but unfortunately, we're right on top of a really bad area. I mean, Atlantic City, believe it or not now, has one of the most violent cities per capita in New Jersey. High crime and everything. But I knew you had a little bit, but I didn't realize it's right on top of you. And unfortunately, they also have a lot of homeless, and they have a lot of other issues. They also have marijuana is legal. Is marijuana legal in Australia to smoke?
I think some places like medical marijuana, but I don't think it's real big here, like over there.
recreational. You don't have a recreational. You can in many
No.
states now it's recreational use,
Yeah, I
not
don't.
just.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, so a lot of these guys are, you got that odor also, right? So I don't like that. I don't know about you. I'm not a big smoker. I don't like that around my daughters. It's you have that combination. A lot of guys are smoking a lot. It's not like just having a cigar or a cigarette. And it gets you a little contact high too. It bothers your eyes. You got a combination of you got homeless, addicts, smokers. The casinos, that's the casinos are nice, right? We were there for Christmas at Christmas time, very well decorated. You had some of the big names. The Taj Mahal used to be Donald Trump's, right? It went down, which was big, and then it came Hard Rock Casino, and they really put a lot of money into it. I think I was reading almost $500 billion, right, into it. An absurd amount of money to really because they were saying Trump did not really have it up to where he should have been, and they had a lot of issue in the Taj Mahal. So that went down. And I think by 2018, dates might be wrong, but 2018, 2019, it came back up. But of course, the pandemic crushed all that, right? With COVID, casinos go back down again, right? Because you can't be in crowds, you can't be, all the issues kick in with the casinos. So, but if you like gambling, if that's your thing, then you'll like Atlantic City, and they have some big names out there. Between the Hard Rock casinos out there, you have Bally's out there, the Tropicanas out there, you have resorts, you have Borgata, which was very nice also. I mean, they have a ton, Golden Nugget, they have Harrah's, they have huge amounts of casinos, impressive. But I was looking, I'm not a gambler, but you look at it, and it's a good experience for my daughters, and I taught her this, and you watch people, and some of them are just addicts, man. It's sad. They're eating their sandwich, they're spending all day just looking at the slot machine, and just keep on putting more and more. The one-armed bandit keeps on stealing, right? And you're thinking, man, these people are just suckered into this. It's like it's okay to have some fun, but man, some of these people are addicts. And there's people that also just love betting. They watch all the games, right? And they're there all day just drinking and betting all day. And you're like, wow, it's good to we're foodies also, so we also did some really fine dining there, which was nice. So you do some nice shopping, some dining. You enjoy it. It's on the beach. Atlantic City is on the Atlantic. So that's one thing. It was cold over there. It was like 15, 20 degrees. But in the mornings, I'll do a nice run on the boardwalk, and I have it to myself.
Perfect.
That is pretty nice. That is
Yeah.
beautiful. With the sun coming up, the boardwalk in Atlantic City, that's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. But by the time it got nighttime, it got dark, and that's when the creatures come out. Underneath the boardwalk, they all come out. It's really like from the what's that the zombies from the Living Dead or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's scary. So one of our shuttle drivers, he's retired at Atlantic City Police Department, right? And him and I start talking. And he worked over 30 years. And he tells me that he started telling me some of the stories. He goes, man, I retired. I work now as a contractor, a civilian, looking at the cameras, right? Because they have to have cameras. This tells you something, all from one point of the boardwalk all the way to another. And it goes for like 10 miles. And they're covering it because there's so much stuff going on, violence and shootings and guns and everything else. You can have, that's what I always say, Thomas, you can have all the gun laws you want, but the bad guys find a way to get guns. Gun laws only victimize. I couldn't carry. I'm retired because all these casinos say no guns, right? So if I'm hopping in and out of these casinos, right, I can't go in there. So I have to keep my head on a swivel to make sure. And you want to be like, I'm not saying like a Disney World, but you want to be in a safe environment for your family. So those are the things that kind of bother me about Atlantic City. Atlantic City has a lot of rich history, a lot of corruption, but the amount of money they're making casinos, they need to do a better job with that hot area that's right on top of it. They need to be cleaned. I would hope if they want to make this something big. I mean, it is there, but family friendly. They'll have to clean that area up and maybe put a theme park there. Do something that's better that people can have jobs. So that was my article why I thought Atlantic City is a bust, and I put it all over Facebook and other social media platforms. And man, I got a huge response,
Wow.
a medium about that, and it's done really really well. So thousands of people have read it, and it's got a review. Some people agree with me 100%, and then there's people who are very hardcore. No matter what you tell them, they're from there, and you can't tell them otherwise. You can't call their baby ugly.
Yeah.
You can never call their baby ugly. You've heard that saying
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
You can't tell them the truth because they can't handle the truth. You know, the movie with Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
They
Wow.
can't. And it's like, I like, listen, I get it. I'm an outsider, but I'm
Yeah.
a tourist. You want tourism? I'm telling people, no, don't waste your money. I say, I'd rather go to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, which I've been there. That's a beautiful spot. Or go to Florida. Enjoy the beaches in Florida, right? It's safer. I mean, you want to make sure your family's safe. And plus, I don't want them seeing that. There's no need to have to see that whole element there. And unfortunately, because of that, it has an odor, it has a smell, and all that stuff. So it can do bad. We did spend one day in that trip, which was about 2 hour drive. We went to New York City. We spent Christmas Day in New York City, which I think was pretty cool. If you ever go to New York City, it's cheaper to park outside of Manhattan. We were in Staten Island. We took it's a free ferry. The Staten Island ferry is enormous from there to downtown New York near Battery Park. So
Wow.
we were going through the ferry. Christmas Day had just snowed the night before, so we had a little bit of white Christmas and going past the Statue of Liberty. That's pretty cool. First time my daughters were in New York City.
That's awesome. That would have been a good experience.
Yeah, New York City and Christmas is special for
Yeah.
sure. That is crowded, a lot of things to do, and it's very touching. We went through 9/11 Memorial on Christmas too.
Yeah.
That was very touching. We ate at one of the restaurants right there. A very moving experience. I took them all the way around, went to Times Square. Christmas Times Square at night gets very crowded, but we also saw the huge tree in Rockefeller Center, the famous big tree out there that's well lit.
Yeah.
That was nice too. So if you ever a chance to go to New York City, Thomas, go check it out. And if you go in the wintertime, especially on Christmas, beautifully decorated, nicely decorated, and nice cold, a little cold. So obviously be ready for the cold. It was about, we were in Northern Virginia. It was, I think the low was like maybe 28, 30, and then went all the way up, I think by 40. We take it.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you want to do a trip. So New York City, definitely on it. If you come down here, I'll come visit us here in
Yeah,
DC, the Virginia area. It'll be a fun experience out there.
definitely.
Atlantic City, I don't know. I'm iffy. I don't know if I recommend it. I have to be honest, especially for tourists.
Yeah.
Too many things go wrong there. You know what's also bad when you go there? When people tell you, check into the resort or you're going in a taxi or an Uber, they all say the same thing. At night, man, whatever, don't cut through this area. Stay on the
Wow.
boardwalk. No matter
Yeah.
what, stay on the boardwalk.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the
Yeah.
message. No, stay on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, man. I put some cool pictures too of AC on that Facebook group you have.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a few of the things you've been posting. It's been pretty cool. You got a lot of stuff going on at the
What's the name
moment.
again? Red something?
Red Panda.
Red Panda?
Yeah,
Red
Red
Panda?
Panda marketing. Yeah.
Red Panda marketing. Yeah. I put a lot of cool pictures and hopefully I send you an invite too if you can join my group. If you guys see it, anybody's welcome. It's open. Sports, politics, and true crime.
Yep.
Sports, politics, and true. Please come and join my group. I've got a lot of cool pictures, a lot of cool stories. I'm sending a lot of invites out there, so please come and join on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. I'll check it out. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Throughout, and I have cool. If you like Vegas, I remember my trip from 2014. It has changed even so much in 10 years. You look how much Vegas has changed in 10 years.
Yep.
You see the Tropicana, it's not there anymore, right? They have big changes out there of other hotels gone down. It's not big. They want to put a professional baseball. When I remember, Nevada, Las Vegas never had a sports team, right? Now they got professional football, right? They have baseball
Yeah.
soon with Oakland A's out there. They have hockey. That town has changed a lot.
Yeah, growing. That's crazy.
The big sports town. They didn't even get a basketball team they're talking about.
Wow. That'll
They
be
have,
that'll be
they have a
huge.
good college one, UNLV. They won the national championship back in the early 90s, 1990. And they should have won back-to-back titles and lost to Duke in the Final Four. So they've had some really good teams, but like anything else, scandals, everybody gets caught doing something.
Yeah, they gotta try and keep it in line.
Yeah. So guys, if you're a member of his page, I put some cool pictures also. And my personal page is also open. So you can see a lot of the cool pictures I put out there from Atlantic City, Las Vegas, other trips I've taken, and of course, all the books and magazine articles I've written there. So that's part of it. Now, talking about doing projects, right? And
Yeah.
I've talked about it in some other shows, and I know I mentioned to you earlier here, look up this guy's name, It's going to be. Can you see this or no?
Yeah, RMC. Yep.
Roar Media Creative. You see the name right here, a signed contract I have with Stephen Gillen.
Yep.
Stephen Gillen. Be leery, be aware. I have a lengthy contract with him, and this was in July of 2022. July 2022, and had my attorney review it. We made amendment to the contract. And it's important if you're going to be in business to keep your word. And a little background on Gillen, he's British from the UK, right? He's self-professed former British gangster. He became specialized in doing bank robberies with his crew, right? Back in the, I guess, 90s, right? 80s and 90s, I guess, late 80s, early 90s. He used to love to compare himself to Heat. Remember the movie Heat? And
Yeah,
the other
Robert
ones,
De Niro.
yeah, doing the bank robberies and stuff.
Yeah. Yep. That was a great
All the
movie.
scenes like that. And I guess he was involved in a shootout with local authorities out there in Britain. And he ended up doing like 16, 17 years maximum prison. Really, he brags about, he talks about it. I did one show with him, and part of the contract was supposed to do 3 shows. Only did one. He backed out the other one. So the agreement was that he provides me a screenplay writer, right? Because he has a production company, like I said, RMC, Roar Media Creative, out of the UK to do these things, right? And he provided me this out of Canada, and I'm a writer too, which was fine, part of the deal. And I paid him about $10,000, and that was in increments after everything was done. But he failed to do at the end was promote the project, which was the big thing because I'm a writer, and I also do screenplay scripts too, and I also like to write a lot. I use the software that's out there, so there's a lot of things I've done, which was good. He did provide that, and he helped out. His name was Toby Osborne from Toronto, from Canada. Nice guy. You look up his name. He's done a lot of work himself. We worked on this. It's called Take Down the Kings, based on my life, ATF Undercover, and based on my book. If you haven't seen it, also, folks, check it out on Audible or on Amazon, ATF Undercover, based on it's a DOJ agency working federal cases. And I did 26 years in law enforcement. For those who haven't seen us before, if you haven't, please check out our shows, right, Thomas?
Yep.
We did 6 of them
Definitely.
previously.
Yep.
Start from the beginning. Like binge watch us.
Yeah.
Binge watch us, and we've done a lot. So, and that's not the same topics. We don't do the same. We talk about 100 different things.
Yep.
From our books, current events. What's currently. We even did Netflix. I remember the girl that went around the world.
Yep. Yeah. This Australian guy. Yeah. It's like 16.
Yes, that was an unbelievable story. Great. If you haven't seen that one, folks, check out the movie and a documentary on her life. Also, fantastic show too. I didn't realize how close she was to dying.
Yep.
That's scary.
That's
the storm and everything else, and submerging the sailboat underneath like that. That's unbelievable story. Unbelievable. If you haven't seen that, check it out, folks. It's a courageous story, and she pulled it off. And I don't think she's done it again, though.
Nah, definitely not.
I don't blame her. No, I think one that'll be a one and done. You do maybe more short trips. You're gone for your family like 8 months like that.
Yep.
That's a little rough. Even with a sat phone,
that's too much.
No, that's a little much. So check out the shows. You'll see what we're talking about. But with this guy, Stephen Gillen, you can check him up. British gangster. He claims to have this redemption story. I met him through Facebook friends because we have a lot, and I saw his production company and everything else. We reached out. We came up with this agreement, but I knew there's something. My gut told me, my instinct was not to work because of his background, based on doing so much time. Has he really changed? But then I saw he won a lot of awards through British authority for his work helping those who also were incarcerated, changing their lives around. I said, okay. I work with William Steele. You've had Bill Steele on your show before. He's also a guy that I've done tons of shows with. We had a weekly show we did for over almost 3 years, which was very popular. He was an inmate to roommate, right? On 8. So if you haven't seen that, check that out for Bill, inmate to roommate. And so I said, okay, well, I'll give him a chance. I have a contract. My attorney's involved, lengthy contract. And he had 9 months to come up. Okay, he came up with the screenplay writer, Toby Osborne. We collaborated. We came up. I helped put it together. We put ideas. It was for a pilot for a series. Okay, we got the pilot done. That was good. But the next step, which didn't happen, obviously, we only did 1 show, not 3. That's part of the contract. I'm going to read to you the exact language here, Thomas. And it says here, in exchange, The service provider, which is Stephen Gillen, RMC, will complete a pitch deck to industry standards, which it was not. Which was not. I have to be honest with you, it was not. It was a lot of pictures that didn't belong to them that they used of old actors to try and promote this project, which I think is copyright violation there. It wasn't high quality. And engage with studios. He didn't do anything like that. Production teams, investors, or he'd say he did a lot of in-house productions or plan an in-house co-production of project to be marketed. None of that happened. None of that. He just complied with part of it and didn't do the rest. Well, I'm a writer. I didn't need him. I wasn't going to pay him that kind of money for a screenplay, obviously. He was for, and we have a revenue sharing agreement. We had a revenue sharing agreement for that. So he didn't comply with any of that. So I'm also telling people, be leery, be wary of RMC. And now I heard there was some other involvement possible with a cryptocurrency, which Mary Bass was the fiance of William Steele. I'm not sure if they still are or not. She found some things because she's a forensic accountant, found some things that we did a show on also. You can check it out with William Steele on Stephen Gillen with possible ties. So those are interesting things there. So that's there. I tell people, be leery, be careful, even with a contract. The tough part is, even with my attorney sending them letters that you're in violation, this has to be this. When you're in another country, it's more difficult. And then how much more money do I want to throw into something? Those are things you got, because then it's more legal costs I've already had on top of that. So it adds up. So you got to find a balance. So I tell people, be leery, be careful, even with a contract. You don't know. It's unfortunately, you do see a lot of shadiness in this business, a lot of shadiness. And I'm not sure if RMC is even around now because we have financial issues. His partner, Daphne DeLucci, which I dealt with this project also, I'm not sure if they're in together anymore, if that partnership broke up. So there's things we're going to keep an eye on. I'm going to keep on warning people. Other people reached out to me that they had issues also with Stephen Gillen. So this is not the first one here. So like I said, if authorities are looking or watching, please reach out to me. If from Scotland Yard, Interpol, Europol, I think this is a scam. So he has a false, my opinion, my view based on my experience, what happened here, false redemption story, a false redemption story that what he has here. And this is a scam. I've been scammed. And I tell people, be careful with people like this, where they promise, even you pay in parts here. And then he wanted, which I thought odd, where he said, no, this is part of the agreement. I said, well, you might have to pay more for me to promote this. I said, no, it's all here. I'm not paying you one more cent. We're done here. And then it gets cold turkey. And then that's it. You know, it's crickets from then on, Thomas. It's crickets. You can't hold on excuses. I'm busy. It's not a good time. They don't. Everything was excuse after that. So be leery of someone like him, Stephen Gillen. It did not work out. I had a signed contract. You see it right here. Did not live up to his part of the agreement. And I've been telling people, be leery of working with him. It's not worth it. It's he doesn't keep his word.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
It's a learning experience like anything else, but I'm teaching people to be careful with this guy. So there's ties in there. So if you see that name pop up or see anything else, just think about it. Think about it. So I'm doing different shows. I did one with Hollywood Wade.
Yeah.
You've had Wade before in your show, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I did a show with him about this being scammed by Stephen Gillen, British gangster, former British gangster with a false redemption hoax, false redemption story. Be leery, be careful what's going on. RMC, I'll deal with William Steele. Others have written about it. Go to my YouTube channel. I've talked extensively about it also. Ignacio Esteban. Go check it out. Every information. So if you're looking to do a production, a script, I wouldn't work with it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay. Are you still going to try and get it done elsewhere? Or?
Yeah, I've written some other ones. I've done Broken Crowns, written other ones. I'm trying to work with different people also. Keep on working, but I want people to be careful with this guy and just go out there. And there's a lot of different softwares you can write your own screenplays out there. And or like I said, if you just want to start slowly and just get your feet wet, go to Medium, Medium, medium.com, and you can start publishing your own little stories. You know, and then of course I always talk about self-publishing on Amazon for Kindle. I've done 80 books there and 110 articles from true crime, politics, current events. You name it,
That's
all that stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, man, perfect. And I know you love writing too, Thomas. You should do a medium. You don't have to do big stuff. You can put some of the stuff that you've done, put them on Medium also,
Yep. Yeah, I might
and
do that.
and start getting a base out there because they do pay you for that. So you do make a
Oh,
little bit here and there.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you make extra little money there. But I think having a lot, and there's a lot of people, a lot of people write a lot of famous people write a Medium. They do enjoy that platform a lot. So I
Wow.
definitely recommend it. That's why the one in New Jersey there that did very well also. And I read about a lot of stuff here. I did one on infamous LA murders, right? And I think we're talking a little bit about the Menendez brothers.
Yep.
How I have a hearing coming up, I think end of March, March 20th, maybe. Different DA though. The original district attorney from LA, Garcon, had supported them finally getting out. The new DA, he got beaten badly in November election, does not support it because the Menendez brothers have been lying about their defense. They were convicted, never admitted they did it out of premeditation, cold blood to kill their parents. First they said it was a mob hit, then they said it was self-defense. I mean, they've come up with all these horrible lies and everything else. If you haven't seen that, folks, check out the documentary on Netflix about the Menendez brothers. Read about it. I recommend it. What did you think? Not bad, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I haven't finished it, but so far what I'm seeing is, yeah, I've never heard of that story before. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a big story. I remember that. I was in high school. And I remember when that came out, and
Yeah,
these weren't poor kids or anything. They came from
yeah,
privilege. They came from Beverly Hills. If you don't know Beverly Hills, that's a lot of money in L.A. and L.A. County, right in Southern Cal. Um, and it appears. I mean, what's the motive at the end? Maybe they want their money. I mean, it's hard to say they lived their lives because they didn't admit what happened, and they started spending on cars and houses and traveling. One of them, I forget which one, loved to play tennis. He went playing tennis tournaments around the world. I think he went to Israel, played tennis tournament. I think it was Lyle. It's awful. Lyle and Kyle Menendez, the Menendez brothers, Jose and Kitty, the parents that were executed. They went in the house with a shotgun, and they did horrible things to their parents, executed them, killed them, put the shotgun to the mother's mouth,
that's crazy. Yeah,
killed her. They should have got the death penalty, and life. It's they should do life for that heinous murder as retired ATF, retired law enforcement. They should do life. They should never see the light of day. I'm sorry, and I'm hoping that new DA does the right thing and explains to the judge that previous district attorney, was off, and we don't support this, and keep the Menendez brothers locked up.
definitely. Yeah, it's definitely needs to be looked up.
Yeah, and continuation with the Menendez, that this is the first trial in LA that was a famous big trial. That was a big one, right? And with the cameras, and then of course OJ came after that, right? The OJ Simpson trial, 30 years, right, of his acquittal. But he convicted in the civil trial. He was 2 years later convicted civilly, but criminally acquitted. And of course, Johnny Cochran, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Darden's big mistake, having him wear the gloves, right, during the trial, trying out, knowing that the blood and it's soaked in, and he had latex gloves on top of that. It was not going to fit right. That was a bad decision, and that was the end based on Mark Furman and the gloves. Unfortunately, Mark Furman, even he admits he was a racist back then, and he said a lot of bad things. And at the end, it became jury nullification. I think the district attorney made a big mistake filing it in downtown LA. I think it should have been filed in Santa Monica, where the murders happened, in that area, in Brentwood, right? When OJ killed, all the evidence shows him killing his ex-wife, Nicole Brown, and Ron Goldman, who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, returning her glasses, right? And happens to witness a horrific murder, and then OJ turns on him. Awful. The Goldman family has suffered a lot, obviously, with this, the death of their son, their family member, but they won the civil trial, and there was a little bit of justice there. But OJ just moved to Florida. I think I remember seeing family members tell me that he moved to the Kendall area where I was raised, and a nice home he had there, but they couldn't touch his pension out there in Florida, I guess. So that's why he was in Florida for a while. And then, of course, OJ goes to Las Vegas, right? And there he gets some time, right?
Yeah,
I think he did 9 years for trying to retrieve some of his sports memorabilia, right? The Heisman Trophy, some other stuff he had, gunpoint in the room there, and that didn't go well for him.
Yep.
He,
Yeah,
he
it didn't
got
work out.
he got 9 years. Well, that's something. That's
Yeah.
something. But he died of cancer. He died last year, actually.
Yeah.
What an
I
end of a
remember.
saga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen, you don't know familiar what happened with OJ again back in the 90s. We talked about Tupac. That's another famous killing out there in Vegas. A lot of things happen in Vegas. A lot
Yeah.
of things happen in Vegas.
Yeah. City of Sin.
Sin City, yeah, Sin City, Mob City, history with the Mafia Flamingo Hotel. I just did a fascinating article, the fascination with the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. There, the history with Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, and the list of gangsters. Gus, also Greenbaum. It's just so many mobsters in history in there. Tony Spilotro,
Yeah.
right? The Hole in Wall
Yeah.
Gang. I mean, just so much. You got to look into it and read it. I've written about it, a lot of it, a lot of it.
Yeah.
So Medium, or you just look at my books too, the short reads too on Amazon. I like Las Vegas, Mob City, LA Mobsters. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got Jack Dragna from Dragna, of course, the show Dragnet based on Dragna, the mafioso from LA, right?
Yeah.
The mob boss. So, and I know you love Sopranos too, so that's why I want to talk about Atlantic City there. But yeah, check those two out. And a fun one that's kind of true crime also related. I know you and
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Have you seen Ripley?
No.
You heard remember the movie Ripley?
Oh, with is it Matt
Matt
Damon?
Damon?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have seen that. The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, now they have not a documentary, but a show they did on Netflix with different actors. The only one, a big name is Dakota South. No, Dakota Fanning.
Fanning?
Dakota Fanning. She's in it. Interesting take on it.
Yep.
Watch it. I think it's about 10 to 12 episodes.
Yep.
Really good.
Yeah.
Ripley, check it out. Check it out on Netflix. Ripley, really. If you watch the movie, you'll definitely enjoy this one here too.
Yeah, I'll have to
And
check
also,
that out.
yeah, check out Ripley. How about Bloodline? Have you seen Bloodline?
No.
That's another one. That's 3 seasons,
Yep.
about 10 episodes per season. So you're looking about 30 shows you got to watch.
Yep.
Really good. It takes place in the Florida Keys. Beautiful background. Filmed in the Florida Keys. Those who have been down to the Florida Keys, little islands, they're connected together.
Yep.
Gorgeous. I grew up in Miami. I spent a lot of time there. We had a timeshare there in Isla Mirada. So
Yep.
I love that I could recognize a lot of the spots they were at. I like that. And it has to do with his family, the Rayburn family, how a prestigious family, how things get out of control with their family, and a lot of violence, murders, and drug trafficking. It's an interesting take.
Wow.
The
Yeah, I'll have to
Rayburns.
definitely check that out.
Check out the Rayburns on Bloodline. Very good
Yep.
acting too.
Yep.
Very good acting. So those are two I recommend. I know we talk about sometimes stuff we like to talk about on Netflix. Well,
Yep.
those are two I think you guys will like, and it's true crime based. You got some documentaries in there, and you have the OJ and the Menendez one. Menendez is very current. I think people will enjoy that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a pretty fascinating story. And it's crazy what they did. And they got away with it at first too, so it was insane.
No, it's sickening. It's
Yeah.
just to me what I find I know you like psycho killers, and what I find sickening is how people snap or become this, or they live Jekyll and Hyde type lives,
Yep.
right? Like a Ted Bundy, you
Yeah.
know, or Dahmer, right?
Yep.
Gacy, all these guys, the clown killer. We talked about it. It's just to me, it's fascinating. Jack the Ripper himself, right? Maybe he was a doctor,
Yeah.
and he kills the prostitutes at night and out there in London back in 1888. I mean, it's just a history. H. Holmes, America's probably first serial killer.
Yeah.
It just continues that one after a cycle. The Russians, or Soviets, I should say. I wrote an interesting, fascinating read on this one. The Butcher of Rostov, right? The Butcher of Rostov. He could be possibly the most prolific serial killer of all time with the numbers. He went years and years. I think starting in the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
Yeah.
killing for years until finally he was caught. It's sickening how many serial killers are out there. That is for
Yes,
sure.
definitely. Do you think it'd be harder for them to get away with it today with all the new technology,
It's
or
a
are they
little bit
still
harder.
active? Yeah.
Especially when you're using DNA to match it, genealogy to match it, you're going back people's histories. It's a lot harder today,
Yeah.
but Man, imagine you have no history, no time. You're like a truck driver
Yeah.
that just goes around. You're not from the area. You just keep on passing through areas and you keep on snatching, disappearing people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awful.
that's scary.
There's
Definitely.
a lot of sick people like that, and every country has them.
Yep.
Every country has these people. Every country. You check around from the Europeans. You go down to South America. The monster of the Andes. I mean, Pedro Lopez. He had things for killing small indigenous children and
Yep.
small indigenous women. Right. His number is maybe over 300 plus. Who knows? He's even dead because the
Yep.
Colombians let him go, even though they
Yeah.
could. In Ecuador, you can only do, I think, 15 years. No, you can commit heinous crime, but the most they put you is 15 years.
That's crazy.
Oh man, some of these countries you scratch your head what you see, and it's awful. Who knows? Is the monster of the Andes still alive? I don't
Yeah.
know. That's scary stuff out there.
That's yeah,
He's
very
a cold-blooded killer. Cold-blooded killer.
kill. Yeah, that's yeah, scary stuff.
Yeah, and of course we got a lot. Talking about scary stuff, we got a lot. Trump first 30 days back in office,
Yep.
he's turned the world upside down.
Yeah.
Upside down. I mean, I think tariffs have really shocked everyone around especially the Canadians. Poor Canadians, man. It's not Governor Trudeau anymore. He stepped down as it was all I call him the governor. The
Yeah.
governor, he's doing a good job as our governor, just stirring them up, right? Because
Yeah.
Trudeau have had a history. Trump is conservative, obviously.
Yeah.
Trudeau is left to socialist, so they've always had it. But I think Pierre, if he does win the election,
Yeah.
it'll be a different dynamics because
Yeah.
they'd have a good relationship together. I think this is more them.
Yeah.
But I know the Canadians, man, I feel bad for them because a lot of Canadians are good people and their economy is getting hit, with these tariffs. But I think there's no need to hit our allies. But I see Trump's point that he thinks there's some trade deficits that have to be addressed. And there's
Yeah.
different ways to do it.
Yeah.
I give Claudia Sheinbaum,
Yeah.
the first female Mexican president, first Jewish president, right,
Yeah.
in the history of Mexico. Remember, a country is 90% Catholic. Think about that.
Yeah.
90% Catholic. They have a Jewish president, female Jewish president. First time in the history. That's unprecedented that
Yeah.
they have that. But she's playing it well because every time he threatens something, she stalls enough and they work out a deal.
Yeah.
She's quick enough to stall, say, give me some time. We're going to work something out here. So the biggest thing is that Trump with Mexico, fine, I think this is long overdue, has now declared war on the cartels as a narco terrorist organization, a
Yeah.
narco terrorist organization. In other words, they're not just about money.
Yeah.
They're also, especially the Sinaloas, the Gulf Cartel, these guys are also bloodthirsty, they're violent, and they terrorize people not only in their country, but ours as well. And the previous president, Lopez Obrador, did not properly go to war. And now they're making some big arrests. Scheinbaum realizes they have
Yeah.
to do something about this.
Yeah.
It's a scourge what's happening in the United States. Fentanyl is a scourge that's coming through, killing people, addictions, and it has to be stopped. And it's in their backyard. They don't want the guns coming from America. Well, they got to stop this. And you can't really blame the guns. They want to sue. Mexican government is suing American gun manufacturers for what's happening with the cartel. I said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How are you blaming Smith and Wesson? How are you blaming Colt? How are you blaming American gun manufacturers for your violence?
Yeah.
It's just an object.
Yeah.
It's in most 90% of people, 95% are law-abiding citizens, but it's your cartels the problem, not
Yeah.
the weapons. And they're trying to sue an American court for that's happening now. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think that's a loser because you can't blame the gun manufacturers. The fault is with it's in with these criminal groups that are all greedy, they'll kill, and it's a bloodthirsty, horrible they do to each other. You look at the videos online and you can see a lot of awful things these guys do, how they kill their rivals or anybody else. Sometimes they take over villages or towns just because they're just demented that way.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
like
definitely.
MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha. That's a awful gang that started in Los Angeles back in the 80s after the
Yeah.
Salvadorian Civil War. Deportations went out there, they spread. But you know what? I give the Salvadorian president kudos. If you haven't seen the videos, man, they think he's kind of a dictator, but he has taken it to MS-13, Barrio 18, 18, these horrible street gangs out there, and he's built these supermax prisons.
Wow.
Impressive. Go check them out. Check out what they've done. They've created these supermax prisons. They put it all in there, and they're making El Salvador safer.
Yep.
Something to learn about. Something to learn about. Marco Rubio, when he went out there, the Secretary of State, he used to be a senator from Florida, and he said that they offered that we can send some of our deportees who are out there.
Okay.
They can stay there.
Wow. That's pretty
That's
cool.
how much. That's how much space they got.
Yeah. Wow. That's it's a lot.
Check it out, folks. Check out the supermax prisons in El Salvador for MS-13.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable how big and enormous it is. And the people feel safer. Some people say, oh, he's a dictator, but sometimes you have to be tougher because you can't let these people terrorize communities, which they've done. I mean, in Honduras alone, MS-13, I wrote about this. They went in there because they want to instill the death penalty for these gang members. They took over a poor bus. You can look this up in early 2000s, and they executed women and children, women holding babies.
Wow.
Yeah, in Honduras, outside Tegucigalpa. It's
Yeah.
awful, awful, awful what these people do. They deserve everything that's going to happen to them because a lot of them have no soul, no conscience, and the only thing they become is sick individuals, bloodthirsty. And a lot of times, maybe different than the mafia. A lot of times they enjoy a body count.
Yeah.
They like to kill people randomly. They've been said before, hey, we're driving by this location. There's a car there. You know what? There's a family. Let's kill them.
Wow. Yeah.
Psychopaths.
That's,
Psychopaths.
yeah, it's
Awful.
disgusting.
Awful. Awful. So those are the things you look. I've written a lot about MS-13. You can
Yep.
look at it. Cases. ATF worked a lot of cases with gangs. I work a lot of cases with gangs. These are a lot of the people are repeat violent offenders that need to be taken off the street. Okay.
Yep.
Now talking about FBI and ATF is something personally I'm not happy with. You know what FBI and ATF is, Department of Justice, law enforcement agent, the premier of
Yep.
law enforcement. And he put there a clown, in my opinion, Kash Patel. Kash Patel, in my opinion, has no business leading not just the FBI, it never happened in the history of this country,
Yep.
both agencies. He's the director of FBI, ATF. ATF has a long, proud history of having their own director, right?
Yep.
Recently, Senate confirmed. Now he's leading both of them. Nothing
Yep.
good should come out of that because he's a lackey. The Department of Justice, this is a big thing, needs to be independent. He's a
Yep.
lackey. He's a bureaucrat. He's a lackey. He's a loyalist who's never, I don't think he's ever used handcuffs. He has no idea what it is to be an investigator. He's a
Yep.
bureaucrat. He wrote a popular book called Government Gangsters, The Deep State, and he put a list that 60 people that Trump needs to go after, a hit list, an enemies list. Nixon had
Wow.
an enemies. He put, read that book, folks, that Kash Patel put out there. He was born, I think, in New Jersey, maybe, or Midwest. He really had no experience to be in this position. He doesn't have the respect of the rank and file. He cannot have the respect of rank and file. When you're there, only position is there is to go after career. Anybody who pushes back, the government, this administration hates people who are career employees who've done the job. You're not loyal to anybody. You're loyal to the American people, the Constitution. I swore to defend and protect the Constitution, right? Not some party and not some elected official, but the Constitution. And we're here to do our job, regardless who is in power. They don't want that. He doesn't want that. And what he's doing is he never wants to see another agency or department go after him again. So what you do is like the banana republics, they cripple you from within. So no one, like Putin, right? No one can touch him. Xi Jinping, no can. Look who he's alienating with. Look at who he's alienating our true European allies, right? Canadians and everything else. And in the UN, an unprecedented amount voted with North Korea and Russia at the UN to say that Russia did not invade Ukraine.
Wow.
Which is why are you doing this? Why is Trump falling in love? Why isn't Trump getting so tight with Putin? I've scratched my head. Other than he loves power, he wants to be a strong man, and he admires these guys. He really does. He wants to do that, but we're not that kind of country. We have three equal branches of government, equal branches. He's just 1/3. We have the legislative and we have the judicial, and the judicial, who is about the rule of law, is pushing back. It's pushing back big time, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like what's going on. And those two he appointed in the Supreme Court are turning on him also.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things going on, folks. First 30 days that people may not understand, but the Europeans are panicking. You're
Yeah.
seeing it. Will the U.S. step up with NATO? Article 5. I don't know with Trump because Trump doesn't care about Ukraine. He has this deal going on there for minerals. I don't know if that's an excuse.
Yeah.
What's going on? I've never seen that before. He has his mineral deal with Zelensky, and you see what happened in the Oval Office at the
Yeah.
White House with J.D. Vance, Zelensky, Trump, and Marco Rubio wants to disappear. Secretary of State. He's in shock. He looks like he wants to shrink up and disappear, and poof,
Yeah.
not be there. What's going on? And
Yeah.
it's awful. There was no reason. My opinion was that conference you should have done it after the deal was signed.
Yeah.
And then he tells him to leave.
Yeah.
And then now, hopefully, with Marco Rubio, Secretary of State in Saudi Arabia, they've said that Ukraine wants to do a 30-day ceasefire.
Yep.
They have agreed to something, right? I don't know if you saw that news.
Yeah.
They have agreed. Zelensky has agreed to it. Let's see what Putin says. I don't think Putin ever thought this was happening. Now the ball is in their court.
Yep.
What's Putin going to do now? Is he going to go along with this? Because he wants to take as much as he can. I think he might because it gives him a little reprieve. But like they've said, you can never trust this guy. Like
Yep.
John McCain, Senator, said, you look at Putin's eyes. What do you see? KGB, KGB, KGB. And he was right. He was right. I remember when Mitt Romney and Obama were debating back in 2012. They debated and asked Mitt Romney, what do you think the biggest threat is to the world? This is before it took Crimea. He said, Vladimir Putin, Putin and using the Russian army. And Obama disagreed with him. He said, no, that's not them. It's going to be terrorist groups or whatever. No, it was Putin. He took 2 years later, Crimea, because he knew Obama, he thought was weak. He pushed him. And I feel bad for that region of Ukraine. What happens to those people? They can't take they can't, it looks like it's a quagmire and they can't take it back. They've lost the eastern part of Ukraine, Crimea, Dagmar, and the other region. Those poor people either get executed or forced into Russian culture. I heard their children have disappeared. It's an awful, awful situation. What's going on? He was indicted on war crimes by the ICC, International Criminal. Putin was. Was he ever see a light of day?
Yeah.
I doubt it. I know they brought in the former president of the Philippines for war crimes.
Yep.
Did you see that? That
No.
happened yesterday. Yeah, the Hague, they were able to bring in the former. I think his last name is, I'm mispronouncing his name. Duterte.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was really vicious and brutal. I know you got to be tough on these groups, gangs.
Yeah.
But there's also rule of law.
Was he the one who executing drug dealers?
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's now going to be tried now in The Hague.
Wow.
He might get life out there in the Netherlands. So they brought him over yesterday.
Wow.
That's a big story. So, well, Putin, but the same thing, Bibi Netanyahu, the president of Prime Minister of Israel, also was indicted for war crimes in Gaza and against Palestinians. So, I don't know what's going to happen there. Some people think that's a reach because Hamas started that war, right?
Yeah.
And all stuff they're doing. So I know the U.S. is a big supporter of Israel. People want to see Hamas destroyed, but I think most people want to see a two-state solution between the Palestinians and the Israelis. I mean, again, Trump says some things which I just can't stomach. I mean, I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
I could not vote for either one of them. I couldn't vote for him, and I couldn't vote for Kamala. I think she was awful, and Joe Biden was just dementia Joe. He just was sleepy dementia Joe. Some people call him creepy Joe. He had to go. He was one and done. He goes in history as probably the worst U.S. president and worse than Jimmy Carter, because he has a dementia issue going on, and I don't think he was running the show at all.
No, you called that too, Joe Biden, one and done.
One and done. I wrote that after what happened in Afghanistan, the horrific exodus of Afghanistan. Horrible to see that, and they finally brought in the terrorists that were behind it. The United States has extradited those terrorists that were behind Abbey Gate, that had the car bomb, that killed the 13 military personnel out there. Awful. You can't expect the Taliban to help you with security. That's awful. Thinking about 20-year war, right? We destroyed the Taliban. We got rid of Al-Qaeda, but the Afghan people, they didn't want to fight. We supported them. We gave them everything to fight to defend their country.
Yeah.
How do you let the Taliban take over again? In my opinion, I thought we should have kept at least a base and work with Northern Alliance to keep Northern Afghanistan is just a security base, and they could have their maybe do like we did with Korea. At the end you had to split it, but That and you know how much military equipment they have
Yeah.
was abandoned there. Trump is trying to work a deal with the Taliban for that, get some of that back. I don't know what's going on there, but Joe Biden one and done. But to say that, going back to Palestine, that we should clear it out, relocate these people, and make it the French Riviera, Costa del Sol, right? Make it like South Beach. Man, that's awful. I don't think I'm gonna go there and spend my on a timeshare in a week out there at Gaza.
Yeah.
That would be
Nah,
I'm
definitely
not
not.
going out there. I don't want any condos out there.
Mm.
There's just too many crazy things going on. But you know, those hurt that hurts people's feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just like calling Zelensky a dictator. I wrote
Yep.
a very interesting piece that's getting good traction on Medium, called that Zelensky is a war. Zelensky is a hero, not just for Ukraine, but for democracy.
Yep.
I felt very courageous what Zelensky has done, standing up. He's like the ultimate David versus Goliath, right?
Yeah.
They're standing up to this behemoth Russian army. They're fighting tooth and nail, and they've done a good job. But it's been a 3-year war, and I think if they get a good peace deal with security guarantees, you know, they should. I think fortunately Russia gets a good chunk. That stinks, but at least they have a country. At least they have a country, and hopefully they can have negotiations to find their children and find these people, at least get them out of the country and at least have a life. And hopefully they have all have been executed, because you see so many awful things that's happening out there. So you go check that out. So going back to DOJ, Trump wants a weak, inept Department of Justice. Anybody that stamps, like for example, Eric Adams, he was the mayor. He's the mayor of New York City, right? He was indicted by the federal government for bribery and other charges, serious federal charges, right there. Trump forces DOJ, the agents, and or the prosecutors to drop the case. A lot of them were conservatives, did not want to drop the case.
Yep.
They resigned. So he found someone to drop the case, so he can do his job. Allegedly, I don't even believe this, to enforce immigration laws. Something he should have been doing in the first place. They're going to drop federal charges so he can now do his job. That's sickening. So now,
Yeah.
so you have this Democrat who's now a puppet for the Republican Party.
Yep.
I know New Yorkers are livid with Eric Adams, livid what's going on there. The governor could have him impeached, but she's chosen not to. I don't think he wins the primary, but he could run as independent. So a lot of shenanigans going on in New York City, a lot of stuff going on, very interesting thing. So Trump never, ever wants, he wants payback. Trump feels that what happened in January 6th, that was his fault. I'm sorry. What happened January 6th in 2021 was his fault. He should have called that off there, and for pardoning all those people who committed violent acts against law enforcement. I mean, I was working with ATF when that was happening. To happen that is just wrong, appalling, and sickening. And there were domestic terrorists in there. Domestic terrorists, radical groups in there, from the Proud Boys to the Oath Keepers, 3%ers, and more, who did horrible things and conspiracies and should not have seen the light of day. They got some serious time. And to pardon these kind of people sends a wrong message. That sends a wrong message to these guys that, hey, if you're doing it in Trump's name, I'll have your back. And that we can't have that kind of, it's like Timothy McVeigh types, right?
Yep.
They're Timothy McVeigh. I wrote a book about he faced domestic terrorism. Terry Nichols, who brought down Oklahoma building, kill all those people, right? In the name of a government tyranny. That's what these people are saying, the same thing. A tyrannic government. No, this is for the people, by the people. There's civilized ways to do things, and that's not civilized. That's not civilized what happened there. That's not, you go through the system, you protest, you do what you have to do, but to storm the Capitol officers, 7 of them, Thomas, 7 of them committed suicide afterwards. That's awful. That's the trauma they went through. Some of them were captured. They were tased. They were beaten. I mean, you look what these people did to the officers. They were overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed. And eventually, FBI and ATFs and the SWAT teams in there also to help out. But the damage was done. The damage was done. And Trump should never. That to me, you know, I'm a conservative, but once he did that, I said, no, this guy's wrong. He wants to be a dictator. And by putting this guy's joke, this clown, Kash Patel, as director of both, that's bad news. That means he wants a weakened FBI lackeys that does everything they want. And he might even fire 1,000 street agents who work cases on the January 6th cases. That's wrong. They did their job. That's wrong. So Those are some of the things I'm seeing out there, which just doesn't sit well with me with this administration. 30 days in, and the whole world is upside down. I mean, I do like that they dealt with the illegals. Okay, that's good.
Yep.
The wall, yeah, that's good there. Support for Israel, that's good there. But some of the other stuff, like I mentioned before, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. With Zelensky, you know,
Yep.
that's wrong. He has it up with the guy. The guy's a hero. There's no way
Yeah.
around it. He's not a dictator. He's a hero. You know, like New York Post said, the Wall Street Journal, which are conservatives, they said, putting a face of Putin, this is a dictator.
Yeah.
This is not Zelensky.
Yeah.
Putin is autocrat. He is a dictator. He kills, and I wrote books about him too. Xi Jinping, Kim Jong Un, and Kim Jong Un has sent troops to fight against Ukrainians,
Yep.
North Koreans, communists out there. Putin
Crazy.
will use, and those poor North Koreans are getting butchered and mad because they have the drones. Have you watched the drone attacks fighting against the Koreans?
No.
Unbelievable things you're watching. You got to watch this, folks. Watch the drone attack. They're setting the lamb for slaughters. Those poor people, man. And Kim Jong Un doesn't care because and he wants to exchange. Putin's going to supply him weapons that he needs. He's a little rocket man. He's going to send better rockets that he can use.
Yeah.
And you're voting with these guys? What does he have on you? What are you looking at here? So those are the questions. Some people think there's something that maybe Putin has in him that's holding over his head. A Miss Universe contest that allegedly it's been reported that he went out there in 2003 or 4. I may have the date wrong, in Moscow. And allegedly he had the room. Putin is very famous. The Russians are to extort money from really billionaires, right?
Yeah.
And Trump was a rich guy. He set him up in one of the hotels for the conference there, and allegedly a lot of things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what's going on there. So very strange that Putin has that stuff in there against him. And that's the last guy you should be. It's one thing you have because they have nuclear power. You have diplomacy, but it's another thing what Trump is doing.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty scary.
No, it's awful. It's awful. I mean, it's plenty to talk about, write about here in the U.S. That's why I'm saying, man, I just the material now is going to be nonstop for me to write about to the end of his 4 year. And then there's some clowns talking about, oh, he should be able to do a third term. No,
Yeah.
it's 2 years, 2 terms. No, we don't want no third term for this guy,
Yeah.
especially a guy who's probably 80. No, that's plenty with him. And
Yeah.
I'll be surprised. Let's see if he finishes. Let's see if he even finishes. So, I mean, those are a lot of things that's going on there, which is just awful to say the least.
Yeah. What's your prediction? Do you think he's going to finish?
Man, he's had some close calls. He was almost assassinated
Yeah.
in July, right? Last year. Crooks, a kid who was 18 years old with his assault rifle, AR-15 top rifle with a scope on it, came millimeter, taking him out, hit him in his ear as he turned his head just when he pulled the trigger.
Yep.
If not, it would have been game, set, match. And
I think that won him the presidency.
I think that pushed him over the top for sure, especially his reaction afterwards, putting his fist up, coming up there. And that is courageous. I give him that. But man, he has just been so vindictive to go after the deep state in his mind. Guys went, no, you did wrong. It's called accountability.
Yeah.
No one should be able to lie, including the president. I don't think the president should be immune. You do stuff like this, you break the law, and I think it's disgusting with Elon Musk what's going on with his Doge, the richest man in the world, right? And then he's promoting his Tesla car in the front of the White House. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Because people aren't buying Teslas. It's gone. It's just tanked. I think he's lost like $80 billion. And for him, that's nothing. That's chump change. 80 billion. But all his companies, between Twitter, now it's called X, and SpaceX, they're all losing money. All of them are going down. People are taking out on him because the Doge, how he's going about, and how they're saying a lot of things are not accurate. I mean, there are a lot of important work that's done by federal employees. And some of these people are demeaning the work that's being done. It's national security. It's about defense. And things they're saying, how they're coming about it has to be, we all want accountability and waste, fraud, and abuse, but do a hatchet job and take the chainsaw, walking around with a chainsaw like Javier Milei does, about, I'm just going to tear it up and see what happens. That's not how you do things. Maybe that's why he did Twitter. That's why they hate him. When he took over Twitter, make it X, I heard he did the same thing there. And they hate him. They hate what happened there. Tesla, maybe I'm gonna predict maybe Tesla might be bankrupt by the end of the year.
Wow.
People hate it. In America, mass protests in front of Tesla dealerships. You see Tesla dealerships, mass protests, and people have to understand most conservatives really weren't into these EV cars. Who were? The left, right? Because they were like, hey, I like that. Most conservatives, not so. He really hurt the left, and they're the ones who were buying his cars. I heard a lot of people turning them in, don't want them anymore. And remember that futuristic truck he came up, that EV futuristic truck he has?
Yep.
Man, they're not doing well at all. And none of the Teslas are doing well now. So I think Tesla might at the end, and the Chinese are also are doing good EV cars.
Yep.
Just like with AI. Man, I don't know how they did DeepSeek. Man, they did it for a fraction of what the American companies were doing.
Yeah.
So AI is a thing. I know Zuckerberg can't be too happy with Facebook, and it was weird for inauguration to see all those billionaires who really not big fans of him, but all of a sudden they've changed.
Yeah.
Bezos, Zuckerberg, Musk out there, the CEO of Google, all the big names behind him. That I've never seen that before. That's very, very odd and strange. He has a very strange administration. He wants oligarchs. See, he's copying Putin. He loves having the super billionaires who are going to make him rich. Because to me, that's unethical. And to me, that's a conflict of interest for a guy who works for you, Doge, right? He's the head of his Doge out there, which is to a government efficiency program. And all of a sudden, because you feel bad for him, you can help sell his cars at the White House. You're like a car salesman. If you haven't seen the videos, man, you got to watch the videos of Trump and Musk in the car out there with a red Tesla and promoting it. Say, hey, what about this price? Hey, what do you think of this one? Hey, Alan, tell me about what the hell? Commander in chief or commander and salesman? What the heck was that? That to me is wrong. So a lot of weird stuff going on, strange things with Trump, but he's having an impact with the world, and the world's asking what is going on there. Is Trump? Is that Americans? I keep on saying it's three branches of government. He's one. Is that the Americans? Is Trump with his bizarre ideas wants to walk away, or whoever's behind him wants to walk away from NATO, wants to walk from allies, and you want to embrace Russia and China? No, that's wrong.
Definitely. What's your advice for people in 2025?
My advice in 2025, work hard, man. Work hard, keep your head up and keep on doing and find something also makes you happy. I know sometimes people have the grind and they get tired, they get down, but find time for yourself and do something that gives you a little pleasure. And if it's writing, exercising, whatever, make time for yourself. I think my pleasure is always try and make time for yourself because life is short. Make time for yourself a little bit. Take care of yourself. When you take care of yourself, you take care of others.
Yeah, that's an awesome message. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Thomas. I enjoy the show like always, man. There's plenty to talk about. Hey, folks, go. Like I said, go Netflix. A lot of good stuff on Netflix there. You enjoy Ripley and Bloodline. Excellent right there. Two great series to watch, and of course, you can't go wrong with OJ and the Menendez brothers. Again, they don't deserve to get out. They do not. How they killed their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez. There'll be no justice for them. They deserve to do life. I should have executed, but at least do life.
Yep.
In a California pen.
Definitely. I think so too, man. It's been great talking to you again. It's been a great show.
Yeah, man. If you enjoy my stuff, please go check out Medium and Amazon. My short books and medium books and long books, you can see them Amazon, Ignacio Esteban. And I know you've read a few of those. And Medium, Thomas, go do a Medium too, man. Go get your work published out there. Have some fun with that. All the writers out there watching, you want to start small, go to Medium. It's for free. Publish your work. You get to publish your work. 100 million users do it.
Wow. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Brian. Well, yeah, I'll have to do another show again soon. That'd be cool.
All right, Thomas. Sounds good.
Thanks, brother. I'll keep in touch with you and I'll let you know when it's out.
I appreciate it. All right, guys. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, brother. Gotcha.